Hello everyone, so today we shall be looking at data cleaning and data analysis. So the best way to do it is using the Anaconda. So I've got my Anaconda module open here. So in your Anaconda you have a lot of software that you can use, and the best two softwares you can use is either your Jupyter Notebook or your Python community. I've got the two open right here, so I'll just minimize here. So this is the PyCharm. This is a PyCharm, and you can see the interface. You can just as well log into this is the Python console. This is the terminal here for running just normal codes. But if you want to do it, you can as well run your programs in the normal terminal. But the best way to do it is when you run it in the Python console. That is the Python shell. You can just come over here and do some imports. You can import pandas, as PD. So it's going to close to the next shell. So that is executed. I can just say df, or I can just say, depending on the. Okay, let's just load SLS equals to pd.excel file. Let's load an Excel file called the yep. So I should load this, so it's going. So and the Excel file has different sheets in it, so I can just press the sheets and say xls.parse, that is PRSE. Then I will start with the first sheet, which is called the yep data, and at the same time I've passed the sheet into a data frame called df. So if I come here and print df, I just print df head. So it's going to print the first 5 So okay, it's throwing an error. I think if I didn't do that import properly. Okay, this is where the problem comes from. Yelp.xls. Yep, you have to put the extension. Then let's see the yep data. Load the yep data. Then after that, let's now print the head of that. So you can see this is the first 5. At the same time, you can check special variables here. The df here, you can print it. Shows you in a special column. So this, you can see it's create a new spreadsheet for you where you can actually visualize your data. So this is all the data that I have here. So if you look at it, so I'm not really going to go into PyCharm. So I just want to, we're going to use the Jupyter Notebook, and the Jupyter Notebook as well. I've got it open running in my browser. So let's see. Let's just run my browser and let's see where it's actually running. So okay, good. So I believe it's just good. So the first thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to import my pandas. So we're going to be using pandas in this module, this lesson, as PD. So we use pandas as PD so that whenever you want to call pandas, you just easily call 2-letter words called PD, and you will easily access your pandas. So I'm going to read. There are 2 ways you can actually read an Excel file. You can read the Excel file by using the read, or use pd.excel. So let's try the 2. dot read underscore excel. Now we're going to give it an extension, I mean the name of the file, that is your dot xlsx. So this is, I'm going to pass it into a variable called xls. Thus that indicates the this thing we are reading. So at the same time I'm gonna pass it into a data frame. So the disadvantage of using this read excel is it only read the excel as a single sheet. So if I should run this, so it's executed, then I can just say xls.head, which is going to throw up. I'm quite certain about that. Let's run it. Okay, so it's not reading it. So the problem is this zip data, this zip file has different sheets in it. So we are not reading the exact sheet you're supposed to read. So the best way to read it, when you use this good, is not defined. Very good. So when you use this read excel method, it will only assume that it is a single sheet and will not be able to read the different data you have in the sheet. But the best way to do it is to use the excel. Just call the excel file itself. Just say pd.excel. So this can read the sheet. If I should run this, so pd.excel file, oh sorry, I didn't so let's run this. Okay, let's just go back to see what I was talking about the other time. We use the read, then underscore excel, and you read. So that is the problem here. And come over here and load this. So it's giving us the first. Oh, that's nice. But the problem is it's not going to read the second sheet. You just do it this way. Let's just look at how the excel file looks like. Let me just come over here and click on this excel file. Good. So this is the album of, I've got an album open right here. It's called the album of the first. Let me run this. Let's just close this. No, I'm not gonna save. I'm not actually using this because this is actually, this file that I open right here is a single sheet, so it's easy to open. But I have another file that I want to make an example of this place. You run this, it's going to give you the first 5 headings of the sheet. The problem with this is I have a lot of files in my archaic that sometimes I confuse the name that I want to use with another one. So that's the problem. So the one we're going to use now is this album list.csv, and right here we have is open here. So I'll just try and change the variable to df, a data frame, which is much more shorter and easy to remember. So I reload this and still get the same thing. Let's see what's the problem with that. df is not defined. Okay, let's reload this first. So to make it run that, then you now come and run this. So good. Yeah, now we have the first 5 columns of our sheet, our CSV file. So this file talks about the first 500 musical albums of all time. First 500 musical album, or rather the 500 musical album of all time. So you can see it's actually from 1 to 500. If I just print, I can just come here and I can just slice it. I just slice it and say, since it's 455, I can just print 455 to 500 and run that. No, sorry, I'm not supposed to use this dot, so let's just run that. So it gives me the last details of the musical files. So this is the last details. I actually cut it up by actually slicing the details. So what we are gonna do now, we are gonna clean this data by doing many multiple multiple operations on it, and such as inspecting the data. We are gonna be checking for value errors, and we are gonna be replacing any unwanted value errors we have in this file. So in the column of this let's check out the column. The column already is number, years, artist, and subgenre, copies sold, and the profit made on each album. So you can just come down and go to the next. So the first one we're going to look at is let's just check if any of the data is null, which means is any of the data empty. If there's any spots in the data that is not filled up, so we'll use the that is null. It's null. Then you can just use this first. It tells you that it gives a result of the first 5 and the last 5 false. But probably in the middle there might be some data that are actually true, which means they are empty. So the best way to do is just put the sum. That is to sum up all the rows that are empty, and you run that. Good. It gives you this. You say the numbers is 0. In the year you have 0 columns that are empty, but in the subgenre, the copy sold, and the profit, you have 29, 22, and 35 columns that are empty. So we're going to clean this data starting from the subgenre. Now the subgenre, let's inspect the type of the subgenre. You have, since it is 29 data that is not filled there, we can just fill it up with a general subgenre. Let's just, maybe we can use the rock, using the rock to fill it up. So what we are gonna do now is, so let's fill up with rock subgenre. So we're going to comment this out so that it won't affect our. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get the subgenre column. Sorry about that. Then subgenre, and see where it is null. It's null dot sum. Let's see if it's gonna work. So in a subgenre we have 29 empty cells. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to fill up those cells with rock. So come down here, let's fill it up with rock. So all this place that is called some that is actually null, we can just equate it to just say null sub. Yeah, you get it. So just define the database. So when you call the null sub, it will tell you, it gives you the number of empty subgenre you have there. So we can use df, then subgenre. Let's just say subgenre dot, let's use the fillna method. The fillna method to fill in the gap. So what do you want to fill into the gaps? We want to use the rock and roll. So to fill it in subgenre. So in here we're going to input rock, and we are also comma in place. We're going to use place it to be true, so this will actually permanently, fill up that place with what we expect it to do. So when we run this, shows no error. We can just instead of just calling, let's just call the first 5 of the data frame itself. So just call the first 5 of the data frame. Good. But how will you know whether it has been filled up? We have to first of all locate a place in the one of the the positions and see if it's actually filled up. But I'm sure you can do that manually by actually looking up. But instead of looking up, we can just still call the the is null method. Just call the is null method and see if it's still null. So just say subgenre, call the is null method. So this, sorry, that's is null method dot, let's just sum it up to see if it actually, so it is now 0, which means all the subgenres, the empty places have been filled with what? With rock. So if you do the df, let's do this. If you do the df dot rather, I can just come up here and just copy my code. Telling us that the subgenre is now 0, which means there are no empty values in the subgenre. The next is the copy sold. The copy sold, we have 2 empty spaces, so we are going to deal with that. So let's come over here and call out the column of the copy sold. df, let's call it out, copy sold. Okay, if you use it, it's now it's going to tell us, so we can just ask, let's get an info about it. So it's telling us that it's an object. Okay, good. I can also run from here. I can get the type of data that the type of data and the classes of data. Is it a series? From a series, obviously it's going to be a series, and it's an object. So you can easily get this by actually just removing this and the subgenre and using querying the data frame directly to get the information directly from there. So you can see from here it's telling us that the number here is an integer, the rest are objects apart from the float. So the subgenre that we called earlier, that was an object, is also being indicated here that is an object. So it means we are going to before we can, okay, let's just first of all let's continue from there first and see. The first thing we do now is we still call out the data frame of the subgenre. Is it subgenre or copy info rather? The copy sold. Okay, you can get the unique values, but you can just leave that for now. The copy sold, and since we are filling it up, let's just say let's use the fillna method and see. Fillna, what are we going to fill up with? The copy sold. Should we fill up with, let's fill up with the main of the values of other copies that are there. So first of all, we're going to calculate the mean. Let's just comment this out. The mean, let's just say copy mean. Let's get the copy mean will be equals to df, then copy sold dot mean. So if it works, then it means all the numbers there are actually integers. But if it does it, it means we have to do some conversions again. So I'm going to run this. I'll run it, so possibly it's so let's now do the let's now check for, let's run the copy mean now and see what comes up. There, let's just first of all check the copy sold. Let's check the data frame first. Let's check the data frame. Head. What the problem is this? Okay, I didn't run this. I'm just comment this out. Okay, that's head. This is the first. But the problem is, how are we going to get which one is not? Okay, let's write a, what's it called? We can actually do that. Let's possibly we can actually write a function to convert everything in the copy sold to an integer, so that it will be convertible, so that we will be able to easily calculate the mean of the copy sold. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to write a function for it. So let's define a function. Define the function, we'll call the name of the function convert, and of course we're going to take a parameter x, and it's going to return every value of x. Every value of x should be returned in an integer. Are we good? So this will take all the value of sold copies that are here. I think it should be an object, so it will take all the values of and convert it to an integer, so that we'll be able to calculate the mean that we are trying to calculate previously. So when we come here, we run this, we can now apply this function to the copy sold. So we can pick, let's just say copy sold dot apply. What are we going to apply? The name of our function, which is the convert. So what is this going to do? It's going to actually convert all the data in the copy sold and return it to an integer. So if you run this, so okay, and I think an error is coming up. Let's see the error that is coming up. Invalid literal integer for base ng, which, so it means in the database there is of this copy there is a wrong input, which is gg. Normally we are expecting an integer, but it got something different, which is gg, and of course gg is not an integer, it cannot be converted to an integer. So that is what we call wrong input. There are many things you can do. Most data analysts, they just drop off you can just drop it, the data, but there are other things we can do. Instead of dropping it, we can just bypass it. We can bypass it by letting this what's it called, my function to catch the error. I can just use the try and except. When it's tried this, it's going to return, it's going to try this formula, try and accept to make, we just is very good in catching errors. So when you say try, it's going to try this. If it is tryable, it's going to do it. But if it's not possible to do, so for example, the type of the GG that is not convertible will be caught in this except. So what it's going to do, we're just going to pass. So what this formula is going to do here is it's going to catch, it's going to try to convert anything that is convertible to an integer, and everything that is not convertible we just pass over it. So now let's do the apply. Let's run our code. Good, I think we've gotten something here. Good, so everything is now convertible here. So we have bypassed that. So most of the time data analysts usually drop that data, but you can't just because of one invalid data drop the remaining data. So it's just better you bypass it. Now all our data has been restored. So now we can now calculate the mean of that copy sold. So since we have applied that, we can just pass this to a variable called the new copy. Let's just say this is the new copy, and then we replace it to this. So we can now find the mean, the copy mean. I'm going to name it a variable called copy mean, and say new copy dot mean. So this should calculate the mean of our new copy, which is what we have applied. So I'm going to cast it into this variable that is called the copy mean. So if I should call, let's run this. Good. So I can just come back here and say copy mean, the actual mean. You can see we have been able to calculate the mean. So by so doing, we have been able to bypass the possible error that is in the data, and we'll be able to calculate the mean. Now this mean that we have here is a mean that is excluding one data, which is the GG. So it's calculated over the rest of the data. So now we are going to input this mean in the copy, the empty spaces in the copy. So we're going to say df, let's call out the, I think it's subgeneral, or rather there's a copy that is sold. Then use the fillna method. Then in the fillna we are going to pass in copy mean. So to fill in every space that is empty, comma, use in place it. Let's in place it to be true. Naturally in place is set to false. So I don't know, run this, and when we run this, I can come here and still come up. When I now come down here, I can, since we have filled the in place, I can now come and call the df dot info. Let's call the df dot info and see if it's actually, but by now the copy should have been, the spaces, the copy should be 0. So we should run this. Okay, this is the info. Okay, I'm supposed to use a null value to check if this is null and sum it up to actually get the sum of the total empty values. So this should return 0 if it has been dealt with. So copy sold is now 0. So we are done with that. So we are able to deal with the subgenre. We have cleaned the copy sold, and now we have the profit. The profit you can let's deal with the profit. So from the profit df, since you have 35 spaces in field, we can sometimes you can fill it with the mean of the data set, but I would rather just leave it 0, just leave it empty, because if it is left empty, possibly no profit was made on such album. So we just call it the data set of profit, that is, and fill it up with 0. So we're going to use the fillna. The fillna is exclusively for filling gaps. So 0, and use the in place equals true. Let's run that. So if you use df, let's run this code here now. Let's just, I can just bring it out here. Let's run it. Very good. You can see we are able to deal with the profit, the copy sold, and the sub-genre. Thank you for watching. Next video we shall try to visualize these data using the visualization tool. Thank you very much.